And welcome back to Daily Wrap. It's potluck time. It's part of the show. We go around the table and share our favorite stories of the day. Hanson, what'd you bring?
So on Sunday there was a rally in front of the South Carolina State House. It involved the KKK, who were rallying because they were upset about the loss of the Confederate flag there. And in response, this group called the Black Educators for Justice, which is headed by someone who used to head the Black Panthers, came in. And they together had a rally. Ended up 2,000 people were there, rallying against one another, of course, with different points of view. But the thing that amazes me, first of all, is South Carolina must know how to do something right, because 2,000 people rallying, very, very different points of view, obviously, and violently opposed to one another, and yet no one was hurt. Only 5 people were arrested. Only one of the arrests was for assault. And ultimately, the entire thing got very little attention, which is what the governor had asked for. She had said, let's not give this any more air than it deserves and show the country what we're made of. And I think ultimately they have done that time and time again ever since the shooting there. We have seen what South Carolina is made of and what Americans can potentially be made of. To that end, and I think the best point to show this is a man named Leroy Smith, who is the state's director of public safety. He was appointed by Governor Haley, and that is him right there, the man dressed in the police officer's uniform. He is helping a member of the National Socialist Movement, which is the nation's largest neo-Nazi group, helping him get shelter from the heat. As you know, it was quite warm on Sunday, and this man was having a difficult time with the heat. This picture, to me, I mean, it gives me goosebumps. It was retweeted 2,000 times. But that picture shows everything that's right with America. You know, we've talked so much about black versus white, and cops being horrible, and cops versus the rest of the world, and African Americans against cops. And now you've got an African American, or what looks to be an African American cop, who is helping someone who is there with hate in his heart, but he's not willing to go to that level, and instead wants to help the man who is there to protest against his very being. I think that it shows what we can do when we rise above. I think South Carolina has shown what we can do when we rise above. And I think that, you know, we talk about the white privilege tax and Black Lives Matter. This is an example of where we should be looking and what we should be talking about in the media much more often.
And that is what will change things. With all the talking we all do and all the fighting and all the arguing, that is how things change. Because that one man has to now say to himself, maybe I've got this wrong.
Right.
Look what this man just did for me.
Right.
You know?
And I think the other thing that's interesting about that is the age of the people from the KKK in general. There's always going to be young people, but it was definitely an elderly crowd.
No millennials in the KKK.
Right. Well, you know, I'm sure there's neo-Nazis who are younger. I don't want to say that there's none, but I do think that it is the future of America perhaps knows a lot better than some of the older people do as to where this country is going. You know, we've now got same-sex marriage being legalized, and there's a lot more equality out there, and to continue that rather than talking about our differences is a good thing.
You know what the shame is? That picture or that photo that we showed of a black police officer helping out a neo-Nazi, right, get out of the heat.
Right.
That won't be played over and over again like
Well, that's right.
we've seen other things
But you know
played
what? It
over
will
and over
in
again.
that, and I don't know if I'm going to call him a neo-Nazi. I don't know what he is or who he is.
Well, he claims
But
to have been.
okay,
Yeah.
but I
Yeah,
am
no,
going to
he's-
say it will play out in that gentleman's head.
Yes.
And you know what? Do it one at a time is okay
That's
by
right.
me.
I wonder if he even knows. So maybe he was so heat exhausted that he
Well,
didn't know who was helping him.
Well,
Anyone,
he'll know.
it's any act of kindness, anyone around them. You know, you see an act of kindness like that, and it affects you, even if you don't want it to. You may have sleepless nights about it, but I do think you're right. But one by one, that's the way it's going to be done.
The greatest city in the country, in my opinion, is Charleston, South Carolina.
It is a beautiful town.
Yeah.
It's
it certainly
great,
is.
great food as well.
Comments.
Yes.
Right, and such a mix of people, and I'm not surprised at all that we didn't see the types of protest and rage that we saw in other cities across the country. Speaking of rage, let's get to our comment section, shall we? This comes from Robert, and he says, Unger, dumb joke. All caps, one
Which one?
exclamation
I
point.
did quite a few.
Well, he's saying that McCain attacked Trump supporters, semicolon. Trump shot back, semicolon. Trump said McCain is a war hero, semicolon. His comment was sliced and diced, semicolon. Caps, listen to it, two exclamation points. Trump is unjustly ostracized because he is winning in caps. Your thoughts, Unger?
I have no idea what he said. Except that I probably agree that whatever jokes I said probably were dumb. He's probably right about that.
I think he's saying that since Trump is on top, therefore he's a bigger target, and his comments are being taken out of context. Hanson.
I think that that's the argument that a lot of people are saying, but he most definitely said he is not a war hero. And then he said perhaps he is a war hero. I don't think you can change what he said.
Bill, a new poll came out while we were on the air. I don't know where exactly it was from. Maybe they could tell me in my ear. But it shows that Trump is now up in the polls 24% to Jeb Bush's 13%. It's now a double-digit lead. Every time we say this is going to kill him, it's having the opposite effect. Maybe we have no idea what we're talking about.
It just resurrects him from the dead every time. He just keeps coming back. It goes back to the point we've made numerous times on this panel when I've been here and when I'm not, I'm sure. He taps into an anger and he taps into sort of a relief. Somebody saying what people out there are thinking. And they identify with that.
I wonder if other candidates will take that cue, not to go to the extent that Trump does, but at least be more candid and unapologetic and so on. Who knows? Anyway, up next, it's time for Yay or Nay. This is the Daily Wrap.